Good morning and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy show with your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show airs each weekday morning, hella early AF at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel, and then 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. This morning, we're talking about thoughts, your mind, thoughts, controlling your thoughts, mastering your mind, guarding your mind, all things relating to the mind as they relate to enhanced productivity. So thanks for being here. If you are new, you can go to productivethroughjoy.com. We speak to groups, schools, and organizations about being productive through joy, um, and by using a very innovative and narrative process, which is to say that everyone's life has to this point told a story. A story. Everyone's life is currently telling a story, and everyone's life will eventually tell a story. And we help people think about that particular process and think about taking action to, in a very aspirational way, decide what type of story they want their life to tell moving forward. So, really interesting. Have me come out and speak to your group, school, or organization, and we'll do just that very thing. Also, for those of you who are new to the show, allow me to say a few words about myself. This is your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher, author of the New York Times bestseller Raising Fences, author, which was the Today Show Book of the Month pick. That book's film rights were optioned by the actor Will Smith, whose people call my people. And I eventually agreed to write the screenplay for that particular project. I'm also the author of the acclaimed historical novel Americus, which just came out in October. That book is set 13 miles from Ferguson and interrogates the intersection of race, violence, and family in the American family. And the author of the spanking brand new animating Black and Brown Liberation, a Theory of American Literatures, which just came out in April. That book uh, discusses the intersection of activism in literature. What can we learn from fictional representations of activism in novels and plays, for example, and can we apply some of those best practices in these fictional worlds? And I'm arguing, yes, we can. The book's great. I'm on a tour for both of those two books. Something's in my eye. I'll be in Seattle. I'll be in San Antonio. I'll be in Chicago. I'll be in Vermont at the Brattleboro Book Festival in Lexington, Kentucky at the Kentucky Book Festival, Literary Festival. I'll be in Louisiana at the Louisiana Book Festival. So I'm going to be all kind of places. So when you see me coming, come holler at me. We'll grab some chamomile tea or some cognac. I do both of those things. So um, my educational background is UC Berkeley as an undergrad, my master's from UCLA, and my PhD in English literature from the University of California at Riverside. I'm also the board president of the World Stage, a great 501c3 nonprofit here in Los Angeles, which is a jazz and literature venue. My mind is busy, right? And I like to share that brief bio, because my background is so crazy. People are almost always surprised to hear of it because of how productive I've been able to be despite a non-traditional background. I'm the product of a young girl who was violated at age 16 in a very terrible situation, gave birth to me at 17, and subsequently gave me up for adoption to an amazing single divorcee. Yet at the time, no biological father, no adopted father. Difficult times for the young MD. Yet it's cool. Modi famously said, "How you like me now?" And if I can be this productive and be so through joy, so can many people who are watching this show. And that's what inspires me personally, but also inspires our business. So thanks for being here. Uh, so let's dive. let's dive into the topic today. We're talking about thoughts. And point one is that you want to know that you can actually control, master your thoughts. For many of us, including me, for certainly much of my 20s and definitely at times still, because it's a process. My mind ran me. We have these feedback loop thoughts, meaning they just kind of keep recycling themselves. Things that oftentimes are not even our own. Oftentimes that are thoughts that didn't even originate with us. They are attitudes from our childhood, from family, friends, and relations, that we're not good, we're not smart, or that we are something that we're really not. And we literally have someone else in our brain, I know people can relate to this, who's dictating how we feel about ourselves. And it isn't even us. And or I know from my students, this is a much larger issue around social media because social media is so powerful. I don't think people don't really know who aren't around millennials don't understand the impact of social media. It's a very serious. I mean, it's a problem. It can be great, but it's also a problem because of the pressure to align with the thoughts of other people. It's really intense. And so, for many of us across generation, across ethnic categorization, we have been and are currently having our minds run our lives. That it does not have to be that way. We can actually master our minds, which goes into point two. How do you master your mind? How do you do that? How do you go about stopping that loop, those feelings of insecurity? Um, we do it we help people to do this by communing with the self. So we help people develop a system. If you know this show, you know that I am a proponent of meditation and yoga and other things. I'm a runner, so I physically run on the beach here in Venice and swim and do, mind, body, spirit is really the key to communing with the inner spirit and to communing with yourself. And in that process, you begin to slowly, at least for me, it's been a slow process, but to be able to have mastery over your thoughts. Not always, because at times, so even my mind, even though I do all this work, and I know it's a problem because I do so much work around this area and for me, it's still a challenge. I mean, your mind it's a lot going on in our minds, right? But our techniques are powerful and they work. So that's point two. You can work it up. You can work at it, at mastering the mind by communing with yourself. And once you begin to master your mind, guard your thoughts, because it's not just about protecting from evil thoughts or protecting from thoughts that are not helping you, benefiting you. It's also being assertive and proactive and deciding what you want. It isn't about it's not what you don't want. It's about what you want in your life, and that's the other powerful piece to this kind of formula. You being able to visualize, virtualize, as we like to say, by meaning putting emotion next to those ideas and visions in your mind, having the experience as if it's already happening right now, because it really is. You can literally create the world, the life that you want. I know that may sound to some people like pie in the sky thinking or magical thinking, but it's a real thing. I mean, for me too, when I first began to learn of these principles, and these are rooted in ancient African ideas, ancient Kemetic. Kemet is the name that Africans called themselves. Folk in current day Egypt call themselves, it means land of the blacks. Kim means black. Cam, K. So it's at times rendered Kam or Kem. There were no vowels in the script that Egyptians used, but so the folks who study hieroglyphics and early Egyptologists used the vowels E and A in those. I'm just kind of going off a little bit here, so, but these ideas that using thoughts as things, um, knowing yourself, which has been credited with the Greeks somehow, the ancient idea of to know thyself. Those ideas are about knowing and communing with the mind. So as you get into that particular perspective, you're able to literally think. And I'm rereading the book Thinking Grow Rich, which I recommend to all people. That should be required reading in every school. And that book is literally based on these African ideas that we found in the land of Kemet, of using your mind, thinking your way to abundance in various types of ways: physical health abundance, relationship abundance, and also material, financial abundance. So, but through it all, that's how we can manifest these things, right? By thinking, mastering our thoughts, deciding what we want, and visualizing it, of course, doing the work that needs to be done, doing our due diligence. But that's it, boom, goes the dynamite. Thanks for being here, guys. The show airs each weekday morning, hella early at 4:45 a.m. And then 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. We'll see you this afternoon. Until then, let's talk about it and be about it. Deuces.